Thank you, Madam Acting Deputy President. I rise today to reflect on the questions given to this place from Senator Cormann, representing the Prime Minister, to the questions that I was asking in relation to this government's proposal to spend more taxpayers' money building more dams in places such as New South Wales. And while I'm standing here on my feet, Madam Acting Deputy President, we know, of course, that the New South Wales state government has just announced that they are going to move ahead with watering down, excuse the pun, slashing environmental protections and assessments to build new dams and new pipelines, all in a big rush to look as though they're doing something in relation to the crippling drought which we're experiencing throughout the Murray-Darling Basin. Well, of course, the big problem here is that simply building dams doesn't make it rain. Building dams doesn't create more water. In fact, what happens is that we are going to see this government spending hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayers' money building dams which will further destroy the Murray-Darling Basin river system, further destroy those farming communities throughout the basin, because it won't be the community and it won't be the river that gets access to this water that is harvested and stored. And we know that because the rules in New South Wales around allocation are an absolute joke. They give a priority to big corporate irrigation over the needs of the community and the environment. So we're going to see buckets of taxpayers' money spent on dams that are not going to be assessed for their environmental impact. There's no cost-benefit analysis. The water is going to be harvested, and then in 3 or 4 years' time, we're going to be back to where we were. This is an absolute disaster. We are facing a continuingly drying climate. We are in the midst of a climate emergency, and all we get from this government is pray for rain. That's the only plan they have. Building dams won't make it rain, and having a drought plan with no plan for climate change means you've got nothing at all. This government is up crap creek without a paddle right now. There's no water in the river. They can't get themselves out of it, so they're willing to just splash around money and pretend, hoping that the community, the farmers and the taxpayers won't notice. It is absolute disgrace that this government, despite all of the heartache that is going on in river communities, we've got towns that don't have clean water. You can't turn on the tap and take a glass of water to drink. We've got farmers, small family farmers, who don't have enough water to water their stock or their crops. Meanwhile, big corporate irrigators continue to store water and irrigate at the expense of everybody else, and the river is in crisis. We saw those millions of fish that were dead in the Menindee Lake system over summer. Just in the last 48 hours, there has been another mass fish death cited, and it's not even December yet. We are in October. This summer is going to be hotter and drier. We know that. That's what the scientists are telling us. That's what the Bureau of Meteorology is telling us. It is going to be the summer of death, the summer of death for the Murray-Darling Basin, for those communities that are being given no hope from this government and saying, just wait a few years, we'll spend the taxpayers' money, we'll build some dams, and fingers crossed, we pray hard enough, it'll start raining. It is not a plan for drought. It is not a plan for climate action, and instead we are just hanging our family farms and river communities out to dry, and all the while doing the bidding of big corporate interests by slashing and burning environmental regulation, spending taxpayers' money while we do it, and I can guarantee that in 3 or 4 years' time the river is going to be in a worse situation, not a better one, because this government did nothing about it.